Hey folks, this is my ritual. I'm sitting here with the guitar, trying it out after a setup. And if it's a guitar that hasn't featured on this channel before, I tend to make a video. Hopefully my channel can become some kind of archive for a certain price range of guitars that you may have an opportunity to buy and find this a helpful review of sorts. Now today's guitar is a nice, I would say a 7/8. It's actually sold as a mini. It is one of the Bessie series guitars from James Neligan. And I've shown quite a few Bessie series guitars from James Neligan, but never this BES-A-Mini guitar. Sorry you're getting a bit of a glare there. This is technically a cherry burst, a dark cherry burst. That's what DCB stands for. But it is a solid spruce top guitar with a rosewood fretboard with enclosed circular dot fret marker. Really handsome little guitar. It's like a concert shape, but it's slightly smaller in dimensions. It's not quite a 3/4 size guitar. I would say it's a 7/8. It's not that much smaller than a regular concert or auditorium. Just a little bit smaller in scale length. So it's got some pretty big bottom end and slightly narrower top bouts, and is actually sold as a BES-Mini DCB guitar. And these aren't cheap. These go for well over 300 new. I found that the James Neligan guitars on Yamaha really fluctuate in price, so I tend to grab them when they're low and do setups on them. Sometimes they need work, sometimes they don't. This one, the action was really high, really high. I had to take a lot of the saddle off to bring it down, but now it just plays absolutely superbly. And you know, from if you've watched this channel before, I'm always suspicious of smaller bodied guitars sold as mini, junior or fractional child sizes. I found through the years in working on guitars, not just as a repair person, but also as somebody in the manufacturing industry. I used to do quality control and be involved in a design team for a couple of guitar companies. And almost always the smaller mini / junior travel guitars for any given company were of a lesser quality. Not always, but quite a lot. Junior guitars were fairly cheaply made and often hard to play, hard to correct. And I stay away from a lot of them. But this one here is made with all the same specs as their full size from this particular series. And yeah, it's a really nice solid spruce guitar with a mahogany back and ribs. You know, I'm not big on the sunbursts, particularly on acoustics, but some people do like them, and this one is fairly subtle. I mean, it's a nice sort of sort of a rust burst, if I could call it that, color. I'm not really seeing much cherry, but anyway, a lot of people will like it. They always do the black faced headstocks, very normative tuners on these. They make really nice guitars. Again, I'm gonna say it, James Neligan, start shipping your guitars with gig bags. People want them, they help in shipping. And for a guitar like this, it's really hard to find the right size, because it is an odd shaped and odd sized guitar. It's not quite a 3/4 size. It's not quite a concert. It's something in between. Some people sell these shapes as mini jumbos, but it's sometimes hard to find gig bags for these, and the gig bags that I have are all too big for this guitar. And it would be really nice if James Neligan just had gig bags made with their logo on them and ship them with their guitars. I think it would be an added bonus and more of a reason to buy one. So that's my one complaint. The other one is I have to mention that it did need the kind of setup work that some of you will be comfortable with, those of you who work on guitars regularly, and others of you won't. I mean, the saddle was probably, I would say, 4 or 5 millimeters too high, and the action was really pronounced on this guitar, and I had to just take the saddle out, and I could do it by hand, get a nice piece of rough sandpaper with a level surface underneath, and rub the saddle until I took the required amount down from the saddle. You always take twice as much off as you need when you measure at the 12th fret. So for instance, if you need to take 2 millimeters off from judging at the 12th fret, you double that amount at the saddle and take 4 off. It's pretty simple calculations. It works really well. Some people are perfectly fine doing it. You can use a belt sander if you know what you're doing. Most people do it by hand, since you're not usually taking off a whole lot of material. It's best to take too little off than too much, because then you're getting into a shim or fitting a new nut. So yeah, it's something that you can do and learn to do. A lot of guitars require it, so I think it's a good skill to have. So that's what this particular guitar needed, and now it's absolutely perfect. It really is a nice guitar. Comfortable to play even for a big gangly guy like me. The spacing is just fine. The scale length is fine. It doesn't feel like a junior guitar at all. It's not that far off a regular smaller concert body instrument. Just a little bit more compact. A nice sounding guitar, plays really, really well. And it's another good value guitar from James Neligan. Watch those prices though, they fluctuate, and grab them when they're a little bit lower, when they're more in the 200 range rather than the 300-400 range, and you're getting really good value guitars on these. I've been doing it for a long time. Those of you who've been on this channel for a while have known me to do quite a few videos of the James Neligan brand, and I talk about them quite a lot because I think people sleep on them. I think they hardly get talked about in budget guitar circles, and I think they make good guitars. They have a lot of different models and series. So this is just the Bessie series. There are other series as well that are really, really well made. But this is the one I have in. You saw the Yakisugi one I had on the channel a couple of weeks ago, and that's a really super nice guitar as well. So always glad to show different ones on here. This is a newer color. I haven't had this color on one of their guitars. I think this color is actually only available on the Mini. I don't think they do it for the full size concert guitars, or I haven't seen one anyway. Alright folks, hope you find this helpful. James Neligan BES-A-Mini DCB for Dark Cherry Burst. Nice little solid spruce top mini guitar. Alright folks, see you on the next one.